podcast. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockings. Welcome back, guys.
And today we have a very interesting topic. It's kind of... yeah. Anyway, is Discovery canon, or should it be considered canon? It seems like a simple question. It's going to be officially licensed. It's going to be on screen. Therefore, it's canon. But we felt that this was worth discussing. So,
well, it's basically the fundamental question. You know, we had a whole podcast of is canon important? We say yes and no, but yes. And we had a podcast all about is Discovery a reboot based on the things we've seen. So is it going to be canon? And if it is canon, then do we have to then, wedge in all these things into the established timeline? Because that's what canon means. It means this is how this era looked, and was, and is. Like, for example, if the Andorians are now, very, 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 very light blue, and there's no reason given, then you're saying that the species went from this to this to this in like 15 years. That's the canon. What do you think?
I think there's going to be a lot of retconning if that's the case. Like with the Klingons, for example, that we've seen. If those are the reimagined Klingons that they said,
I forgot about those actually.
They would be tweaking. They would be tweaking some of the aliens and stuff. Is it a soft reboot? Is it a parallel universe, parallel timeline, or is it canon? But then, if it's canon, it doesn't fit in with anything established with all the other series. Again,
there's a difference between Prime and canon, because Prime universe is... Prime timeline is things that happen in the standard, TOS or Enterprise to Nemesis. Canon is whereby it's on screen and it's now part of the tapestry of the universe. So, unfortunately, mostly you have the JJ universe intro and the whole Romulus being destroyed because they're in the Prime universe. They're canon, even though the film is set in the JJ verse, and obviously stylistically it's all JJ timelines. There's no Prime feeling parts there. It's not, it happens to be canon Prime universe, even though it's not that stylistically. But if they are trying to tell us this is pre-Kirk, and it's canon, then it's like saying the Cage era has two different looks. The best ship of the fleet has these wonky little rubbish-looking, they're great little lasers, and then or this other ship, this other side of the quadrant has totally different uniforms and all these advancements, and then it de-evolves into TOS, and then we as Trek fans have to say, okay, let's make this make sense.
Which shouldn't be our job. It should just make sense. But, yeah, I don't know. I think the word retcon is going to come up a lot after Discovery's out. If they do claim that it's Prime timeline, there's got to be reasons for things.
But is Discovery... Sure, do you mean by retcon? Do you mean we're retconning things in Discovery, or retconning things in, say, TNG, or what do you mean? What are we retconning, and in which
Klingons.
Context?
Let's talk about the Klingons. Let's say that they all look like that for some reason because it's the part of the new reimagined Prime timeline.
Mm-hmm.
How do we explain away the TOS ones they explained away in Enterprise, which was fine. They did a fine job with that. But then every other established Klingon that we've seen has a specific look. These new ones are totally a step away from that. But if they're saying that this is Prime timeline and Prime continuity, then... what happened? It just doesn't make sense to me to just say, okay, well, these Klingons, just accept it for what it is.
Unless there's an awesome reason.
Yeah, well...
They could be mutants, like the X-Men.
They could be. There's a lot that we don't know.
Telekinesis, laser eyes, metal claws. Could you imagine a Klingon going... That'd be awesome. That'd be a cool crossover.
Even when Brian Fuller was on the project, he said they're going to be reimagining a lot of things and the way things look, specifically, like even alien species we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Which they did sort of with the Andorians, even for Enterprise. They made the little smaller antenna that moved. The TOS had the bigger ones at the back. But again, that can be explained away as Andorian from a different part of Andoria.
Well, the thing is, there is TOS retconning, obviously. many times, many things. I mean, just the fact that Spock, laughs and jokes in the first episode. I mean, there's things that it was a serialized, non-continuity TV show made in the '60s on a relatively low budget. Mm-hmm. It wasn't meant to spawn this legacy. So when Enterprise comes along, when they make these changes or updates, like the Gorn's a weird one. I can't justify the Gorn as much, apart from just different species. That was a weird one. But like the Andorians, like the Tellarites, that for me is them saying, well, we have 10 times the budget for makeup. Let's actually make a species looking rather than a dude in makeup. Like, let's give it a look which is the look, but just looks better. And that
now we have the technology and the budget.
Yeah,
and this is what it should have looked like.
But it's so faithful. Like, it's not actually, it's not breaking away in any way from what it was. It's just taking what was, and I guess enhancing it a bit. So it works. So I mean, the Andorians and Enterprise are the best Andorians. The Tellarites evolved. I mean, the look, they have the best look because they actually have the budget to represent. Klingons, obviously, that's a different story because you had amazing, perfect Klingons in Star Trek 3. Even in terms of makeup, I mean, they'd already fixed that. The Gorn is a weird one because are they saying that then the Gorn? They're not saying that though. Although that was also parallel universe Gorn. To be fair, that was mirror universe Gorn. So
true.
So they could just be a different. I mean, to be fair, very easily, if everyone in the universe for some reason is evil, because that's how universes are, everyone's just innately evil. Actually, we should discuss the mirror universe, because is everyone evil? Because I don't think, because society is there's nature versus nurture. Is it not just that Earth were evil because everyone was a bit dickish, and then that socialized into being evil? I mean, the Vulcans didn't seem different. I mean, it could just be the humans that became evil, and that generated the timeline. That's the podcast, Stuart.
That's a whole other discussion for sure. I got a lot of good points about that. But
okay, cool.
Now,
we're discussing... Oh, yeah, Discovery.
So, I'm inclined to believe that Discovery is going to be more of a soft reboot. Not specifically saying, okay, this is a totally different timeline. The events of the other series never happened. They just happened in the future kind of thing. And that bugs me to no end, because with what I've seen and the feeling I have, I think it's not going to be good. It's not going to turn out well. I was pretty positive about Discovery for a long time, but I'm getting very disheartened very quickly. So
you know what's odd is that if this is in essence, I also agree, it is a soft reboot. It's not meant to be prime TOS Trek, which is fine. Whatever, we already got that with the Kelvin and even the first JJ movie, because it's obviously Kirk is not 35, 40. He's not. That is not him being the Enterprise. That's prequel, which means that we already saw the alternate TOS era. So we're going to see another alternate TOS era. So we're going to have 3 TOS eras. We're going to have prime continuity, which looks like it is the 60s, but was backed up in Enterprise and TNG, showing that is how it looks. We've got the JJ Divergent Point, but it's a full alternate universe because the past is also different, like the Franklin and such. So that's a different look. And then we have the Discovery look, which is probably the events of the prime timeline, but a different look and feel. Almost not Star Trek, because they're just trying to use what we have now to make a new TV show called Star Trek. So we have 3 alternate TOS timelines. Looks like, and one is, but the interesting thing is, one is we're going to make it look different, J.J. Abrams, and then we're going to have one that says, well, we don't know yet, a different look, but it's not trying to be the other two. So it's interesting that there's this 3 radically redesigned versions of the same timeline when we just want to see the future. Although, to be fair though, can I just say, if they did say let's do post TNG and they also do all the same awful changes, if this team doesn't know what they're doing, which there is some indication they don't, and what's best for Trek, then do you really want them messing up the future canon? Is it not better they make an alternate past than mess up the one and only canon future?
No, I don't think so, because you can always go back and redo the future the proper way in another series in the future. But screw with something that we've already visited a few times in the past.
Even if it's alternate, though, it makes no difference. It's like J.J. Abrams' reboot. It's like just another famous timeline that we all know, so therefore just here's another version of it. Yay!
Well, I'm fine with that as long as they come out and say this is a reimagining of Star Trek starting in the TOS era.
Well, remember, this is a digital exclusive by the first episode. This isn't a TV show. This is not a TV show. This is a, for most of us, a Netflix exclusive. It's like a Jessica Jones. It's like a, with a really good budget. This is not a TV show. This is a different format. So this isn't the next TV show of Star Trek. This is its own unique thing. So maybe, they'll decide to do a TV show later. I don't know. I see. My gut says this isn't going to be canon, and we should just accept that. You can, it isn't going to be. You can't shoehorn you can shoehorn in a smaller diamond and then put super glue and tissue paper to sort of wedge it in, diamond into a diamond hole, but you can't force a circle into a square hole. So you just say it's fine, it's not canon, doesn't work. They're two different Star Trek coloured objects, but you can't. Which is annoying though, because we obviously, as here on Trekyards, want to analyse, dissect, and work out how it fits. If it's inventing its new look, then I guess we'll have to fresh analyse. But we can't use our pre-existing knowledge except to say this is odd.
Yeah, well, that's
why canon's important.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Trekyards is we're looking at ships specifically, more or less. Yeah. So we're getting new ships that look very cool. They just don't look era appropriate for what we're looking at, which we can explain, and we'll have to use our knowledge and stuff based on with TOS to kind of say, okay, well, whatever, we can always come up with reasons for things looking the way they do. But as a whole, I don't want this to be part of canon per se. I really don't. I want it. I'm going into this right now in my head. It's just a reimagining of the TOS story.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily my canon.
It has no consequences. Nothing in it affects the Prime. No events. If we see the background of Battle Terror, no, we don't. That's not the actual background. That's a alternate. That's some cool. Basically, it's a novel. It's someone was given a story. So a fan, even if they're not fans of writing it, given a novel saying, "Here, write this story." But it's not actually the TV show of Star Trek. It's almost like a digital exclusive fan film series originally done by a fan, Brian Fuller, and they said make your own Star Trek as opposed to make Prime Star Trek. So
the odd thing is
the official fan film.
Yeah, as the odd thing is, I'm going to be watching this, and in my head, I'm going to be seeing original Klingons and original ships with the old style nacelles. Just as I watch it. The problem that I really have with this is it's going to cause a lot more problems with the community as a fan base.
We don't need a third split.
No, JJ already rocked the fan base, and when on the Trekyards page on Facebook, we deal with a lot of. Every time there's a mention of JJ, you get an influx of people saying, "Oh, it's insulting other people that do enjoy it and all that," and it's really disheartening as a Star Trek fan. Now, I must admit, I've been kind of guilty of this in the past when it first came out. Not a huge fan of JJ.
Well, wounds heal.
Exactly.
If they stab you in the heart, they heals.
I've got pictures of the JJ Prize on my computer now for wallpapers, which would have been unheard of a few years ago. I'm growing to like the designs and
except
yes, but the fact is, it's not black or white. It's JJ fans are wrong. Real fans are right. I hate that argument.
Yes.
And for me, I don't know. Like I said, I've been guilty of that in the past, and I feel bad about that, but I don't know. I just don't want this to be another rift in the Star Trek community, and I think it's really going to be. People are going to be, well, this is what happened in Discovery, and people are like, well, that's not real Star Trek, or whatever. I can just see this argument brewing now.
Yeah, Star Trek is about a unified Earth, a unified galaxy.
Yeah.
That says it all, and so to not be doing that. Well, I will point out, you mentioned the reboots again. I think we're going to get to the point where and again, this is so bizarre. If we were back in 2009, having had our one incarnation of Trek, this long continuation of the same basic thing, and then have something different, which wasn't what we wanted, wasn't what we needed, broke all the rules, and didn't apologise. Instead, drove a car off a cliff, because of it. I don't know, whatever. Sponsored by Budweiser.
Yeah.
You know, but they, I think that production team, even though they weren't Star Trek fans, because they deliberately hired not people who they might have been like Star Trek, but they probably weren't fans. Mm-hmm. They still had a brief to keep it consistent visually, just change all the details. Whereas this show is changing all the details and trying to do something new visually. So at least the JJ Prize is the refit Enterprise with odd nacelles and a window. I mean, it looks as, I mean, it is. I mean, everything and the deflector of of the TOS Connie. It's clearly what it is. Mm-hmm. It's clearly got the problems that it has, and they're obvious to see to anybody. Other people love it, but the problems that make it not right. And same with the Vengeance. It's got it's got a middle bit. That's the only issue really. The cutout. I mean, but at least it feels like a Federation ship. You can sort of say, oh, this is potential. The Franklin, Sean Hargraves, I think is a great design. You change the facades to more classic, and then you take the window. That's a perfectly. You freshen up the paint so it's more brown off the construction yard. Absolutely perfectly valid. Ship. Couldn't complain. I mean, all the kit bashes and the JJ fleet, all perfectly valid. Many of them are pre-existing ships that have existed in the faster timeline and such. Mm-hmm. All that stuff stayed very much what we, the fact that Axnar changed them just a bit and made them all perfectly canon shows that they were all on the right track. They were forced to use bad nacelles. Basically, and the window. They were forced to have these two bad decisions, but the rest of it was actually pretty good. This show is not doing that, so they're going to go even further. I think that's going to cause even more problems because we're going to start appreciating the last reboots. At least it tried to look like the pre-existing Star Trek.
Yeah, even the Klingons aren't that bad in the JJ verse when you compare them to the supposed Klingons that we're going to be seen in Discovery.
Yeah, I mean, they had the Klingon battlecruiser, the bird of prey. As long as you call it a bird of prey fighter, then it's really cool. It's just not a bird of prey or a D whatever, because that's dumb.
The problem with new Trek, I find, is that the new producers and new production teams and things, they want to put their own mark on Star Trek. They want to put their own piece of history. They don't want to use pre-existing designs and whatnot, or aesthetics like the round nacelles. Like, that's a total no-no for the new show. From what we've heard, is no round nacelles, which bugs me to no end because that's the established design of Starfleet. It has been for 50 years now. 50 years. Well, until the refit era, right?
And then
for the TOS era, yes, for the TOS era,
and the NX era.
So that kind of stuff bothered me. Let's just recreate something for the sake of recreating it and say, in the credits, there's my name that I created that, and to hell with established canon. That bugs me. I mean, you can put your own spin on things and still stay true to what we've seen. How many reimagined Enterprises have we looked at that hold very true to the original, but have their own touch of flair, much more so than the Ryan Church Enterprise, the JJ Enterprise? You know what I mean? Like, you keep the colors the same, for Christ's sakes. The Bizarre Collectors. They serve a purpose. They're red in all iterations of Trek. Why not keep them red? Why change them to blue? So JJ had his own distinct look that wouldn't be confused with anything else. Mm-hmm. That bugs me because they're red for a reason, technology-wise, that it's been established. Why are they all of a sudden blue now?
The problem is
they're going to be red in Discovery, though, so that's a good thing.
We hope.
From what we've seen, maybe.
Anyway. No, yeah. It's, okay. Why do the same thing over and over again? One complaint Voyager gets is because it's just another TNG. Personally, I love Voyager because guess what? It's another TOS and TNG. You have great ships, great aliens, great stories, great sci-fi.
And a great history to build on or draw from.
Yeah, it's the TNG of the far frontier. It's the TOS plus TNG. They're actually going out exploring new things. I love Voyager because DS9 has like 7 new ships in 3 seasons, or no, less than like 3. It's like, okay, that's a bit boring. Great characters, but I want the sci-fi as well.
Yeah.
I like the sci-fi elements, but I'm more of a sci-fi guy.
Well, I'm hoping that the storytelling elements in Discovery are going to be able to stand on their own and be good storytelling elements.
But I think, doing the same thing over and over again, as many video games have said, is the definition of insanity. Expecting different results, and the fact is that Enterprise failed because of ratings. Failed for many reasons. Many reasons. Nemesis failed. Does the same thing again and again. Failed. You can't do the same thing. So reinventing it, the wheel, is fine. And as a filmmaker, put it this way. As I have been now a couple of times on the TOS sets, if I was to walk onto the TOS sets again tomorrow, and you said, right, you've got to film in 4:3 on a tripod and use their colours, I'd say, I don't want to. And you asked me why, and I said, because I want to film my own way. I want to do it with modern techniques, anamorphic, filmic. And you say, no, TOS is 4:3. I would be unhappy, because I'm not able to add anything. Now, the difference being, obviously, I'm reusing the continuity and just adding my own cinematic flair to it. As I saw in Intramural Darkly, you can make the TOS Enterprise look gorgeous, just add the more cinematic flair, as Zack Snyder has shown, as all the fan films have shown, When you then change the background and the foreground, just call it reboot and be done with it. And then we don't mind. We'll just wait for the next Prime Trek to come along. Hopefully, not before the amazing team are too old, This is a very old show. Those guys are still around, though. Doug Drexler, Rick Steinbeck, Andrew Probert.
Yeah.
Please make another Prime Star Trek with them involved while we still have them, because they have so much to offer. They love it more than anyone in the world, because they helped also build it. Give them a chance to make more. We all want it. We need it. And it's worth doing. The fan base don't want a reboot. The fan base don't want messing up continuity. Some people want new for the sake of new. Some people want JJ for the sake of new.
And a lot of people want Axanar. That kind of redesigned storytelling with the original looking ships and holding very true to the established TOS era without, changing it too much, but still inserting that new modern edge and the kind of dramatic action that we expect from today's kind of viewing audience, right? The popularity of Axanar, I think, was very poignant in the fact that a lot of people were on board with that project just because that in my mind, it was Star Trek reimagined and modernized, but done properly, still holding very true to the ideals of the original. But I guess CBS didn't want that per se. I don't know why they jumped all over it. There are many reasons, of course, but
many reasons, yeah.
But it's a shame, because that's how I think CBS should be doing things, personally.
Or as I've said before, do a Red Dwarf, do an English Star, make 6 shows in one era, 6 shows in another, do one reboot, do one Prime, do one JJ. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if they commissioned 3 6-show episodes, 6-show seasons, one in each universe, but they lowered the budget to something more reasonable. A lot of bottle shows, but good stories. I would happily watch a JJ TV show as long as we have the Prime as well. I don't want to. It's like I don't want to see the only next direction being JJ, because that universe is not my universe. Yeah. And obviously we'll watch the new Star Trek because it's new Star Trek, but we won't create this new fire burning. I saw spin-offs are different. Like some people have. Stargate SG-1 was amazing. Atlantis came along. I didn't want to like it because it was different, but actually I loved it from the first 5 minutes because it's incredible. But it's canon, same style, same whatever. This isn't that. So I wonder how many people in the Trek community are going to have a new fire burning for this new look. I think as a filmmaker and as a Star Trek fan, as someone who does all this official stuff, with the assets and talking to the people, I can split it in my brain and say this is this, this is this. We've done it for years with different incarnations. I just wish they were doing something Prime as well. Properly Prime in canon rather than just Prime.
Right. As you said I just got to jump in with the TOS sets. You're using the TOS sets. You just want them lit to modern standards in widescreen, give it that nicer look. that's what we want from. That's what personally I want from my ship redesigns for Discovery. I want TOS style, but refined, brought up to that modern era, because they did it with In a Mirror Darkly. They made the Defiant and the bridge look fantastic, way better than the '60s lighting and whatnot. So that's kind of what I'm getting at here.
And as I said to someone literally today, I would be fine with you take the exact set plans of the Connie of the bridge, but you make every monitor a touchscreen. You change the LCAS to be more advanced. You make even take away the jelly bean buttons and make that. That's fine. I mean that's very of its time.
Holographic floating buttons.
Hey,
look jelly beanish. That'd be cool.
Yeah, go for it. Or yeah, they present slightly out, but they disappear into the panel. Or they can be buttons, they can be touch, whatever. You update all that, but the physical structure of the bridge is identical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at least this is something familiar, just modernized. Yeah. Anyway, so Stuart, the question we posed is Star Trek Discovery, and will it be canon?
It will be canon, unfortunately, because it is licensed by CBS. It is officially a licensed Star Trek product, and it will be aired in a visual medium. Therefore, technically, it'll be canon. Whether it should be considered canon or not is still yet to be seen, depending on how they do it. Soft reboot, hard reboot. I don't know. Unfortunately, it will be canon, and a lot of people are, like I said, that's going to split the fan community somewhat when it comes to certain topics, and it's going to be them versus us, and I hate that so much because it should just all be us.
There's one more thing I want to bring up very quickly. If they reboot the look, but they say it's canon, but the stories are actually very cleverly in the universe, and they actually make sense, they link in, could you as a fan say, okay, the stories are canon, but the look is just this new ignore it? Like, can you...
Mm-hmm.
And do you think the broader fan base can understand that we're not taking the look, we're not taking the ships, we're not taking the tech as canon, just the stories? So it's like a documentary of a parallel universe. It's like saying we take a camera back in time. This is what happened, but not our version of it.
That's what I said though. Like if the storytelling's great, I'll be sitting there picturing real TOS ships, real Klingons. Should they, I'll be using my mind's eye to create the Star Trek that I really wanted to see.
Hey, maybe we here at Trekyards can take the episodes and re-edit the CG to make them look TOS-y. The Discovery is now a TOS Discovery, and the Shinzu is now a TOS Shinzu, and
Trekyards Discovery coming soon.
So my final thought is Discovery will not be canon. It'll be parallel, but it'll be good. Just not canon or Prime, but parallel. And I'll be fine with it. And I'll just patiently wait for more Prime. Or go back and play Star Trek Online. Because that is Prime side canon. It's not canon.
Well said.
It's licensed, not canon.
Well said. I think that wraps it up for this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I want to hear your comments. I really do.
Yes.
I'm going to be, it's going to be entertaining. Be nice, though. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it around. Click the notification bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a video, which we do constantly. And,
If you want to support the show directly, which we hope you do, two ways. Either trekyards.com, click that donate button and give what you can for a one-time donation towards helping the show keep going and keep us getting new upgrades and such. If you want to give like $500, hey, we'll buy a new PC part and renders will be even quicker, huzzah. Or a monthly donation scheme like we're a Netflix or a Hulu. You just give a little bit per month and that all comes together, helps keep the lights on, and that is essential because we take time off from real jobs that I don't have a real job because I do this, and so we have to fund our lives through this. So the more you support, the more time we can put towards this, and that's always good for everyone because we know you love this, we love doing this, and there's more we always want to do. So support us, and if not, just share the show, share on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, somehow, Spotify.
Anyway, the point is share it. Get it out there and just be happy and enjoy. But anyway, until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Cookins. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.